people. And even as it's not, I've seen it, whether it's people that have worked with us forever or whatever he's done that's unique. But actually, I thought it was perhaps his greatest maybe political weakness was that he never wanted to show his empathetic side. He's like, I'm dealing with China, I'm dealing with Russia, I'm dealing with Iran. I can't be soft. I'm like, you don't have to be soft with them, but show that side. But he still had that old school sort of Germanic, like whatever it was. Like,
I don't know if
we can't
how
show
he grew up.
weakness. I'm like, he actually has so much more of that empathy that I think needed for suburban women. But he was like, nope, we're on a world stage. We are literally, whether we're at war.
So it's completely unclear from this clip, but Don Jr. is actually the one interviewing Kevin McCarthy, not the other way around. It's confusing because Jr. simply can't stop salivating over his dad. Now, we've seen clips of Don Jr.'s podcast, whatever this show is, and we sort of all recognize that it has no bearing on the culture at large, as whoever listens to it in full is already pretty set on the Trump train. But having figures like Kevin McCarthy on legitimizes it in a way that is very different from his usual just screaming on the internet. If Don Jr. had any sense, he would use this platform to his political advantage, pressing McCarthy on policy and strategy, but luckily for us, all he cares about is himself and his family's proximity to power. But it's shocking that the current Speaker of the House is sitting down with this lunatic who obviously is clearly intent on getting his father back in the White House. It signals that despite Trump's 2020 loss, with 2024 right around the corner, we cannot count him out. McCarthy has been shown recently as caving into far-right demands to secure his speakership. And if we're not paying attention to these relationships, another Trump term really could sneak up on us. And if we don't have journalists looking into these center far-right relationships, we will certainly pay for it in the future.
Don't you get fired?
And you know who cut Medicare is the Democrats. They did it in September in their spending bill. They cut $280 billion out of Medicare. So they want to say Republicans want to cut Medicare. None of us support cutting Medicare benefits, but they actually did it. Absolutely not. And you know, the Democrats just cut $280 billion. All Democrats in the Senate and House voted to cut $280 billion out of Medicare just 2 months ago.
Just want to correct the record. The Democrats' plan, which is now law, didn't cut didn't cut Medicare benefits. It allowed for negotiation for prescription drug prices, which would ultimately bring down the price and the cost for Medicare consumers. But I want to ask the next question, which is about...
So there's Rick Scott, who openly campaigned on cutting Social Security, blatantly lying time and time again about how it's not the right who wants to cut it, but the Democrats. And thank God CNN called him out in real time. But there's not always going to be a sharp journalist on hand, especially not on Don Jr.'s show. With more and more people becoming independent sources of news, the capacity to lie and twist truths becomes stronger. And that's not to say that we shouldn't want to expand the media ecosystem, as it's clear that corporate media like CNN aren't above putting their own spin on things. But it means we have to be prepared constantly to push back when the lies start coming. Of course, Democrats didn't cut Social Security benefits. Everyone knows that's the Republican game plan. It's literally in some of their campaign literature. Thank God Rick Scott is such an untrustworthy goon. But as we head into the next presidential election, there's going to be someone better at warping the truth and then selling it to the masses. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.